Hey, what's up? I'm Ashley. Thank you for watching this video, and today we're going to be talking about The Best Man, the final chapters. And just a quick recap, in the movie The Best Man, Harper is a writer and he writes this book about him and his best friends. He spilled all the tea in it. It's a non-fiction story, but he's calling it fiction and just changing everyone's names in it. Now, he didn't even tell them that he was writing this book about them, because in this book, he told everybody that he slept with his best friend Lance's soon-to-be wife, his fiancée Mia. And Lance didn't even know about this. Nobody knew about this except them two, Mia and Harper. So, of course, when Lance finds out about this, when he reads the book, he's livid. He even tries to throw Harper off a building, and he even was about to call off the wedding. But none of that happened. None of that followed through. He didn't throw him off the building, and he still did marry Mia. Also, just really quick, Harper is in a relationship with Robyn. They even actually got married, even though they never should have, just for the simple fact that Robyn is second choice, because Harper and Jordan has always had this chemistry that him and Robyn don't have, and they've always had feelings for each other, but they never made it official. They just used to hook up back in the day. Then we have Shelby and Q, who claim that they hate each other, but they would hook up. And then Shelby and Murch had their own little thing going, but Shelby would use Murch until Murch got tired of it, and then he decided to marry the stripper Candace, and people make fun of him marrying a stripper, but she was just trying to get herself through college. And then for the best man holiday, Lance's wife Mia dies from cancer, and that was traumatic. Who wants to watch a Christmas movie while you're watching someone dying from cancer at the same time? So now we're about to get into this recap and review of The Best Man, the final chapters. So the show picks up in 2015. FYI, The Best Man Holiday was in 2013 and The Best Man was in 1999. Actually, there was a lot of time jumps in this show, showing all of their failures and successes in lives, everything they've been through and all of that. I think we got all the way up till 2024. But with that being said, I really did enjoy this limited series. I wish we could get more. It made you happy, it made you sad, it made you mad. It was actually kind of funny too. And we also got some really good character development between some of these characters, more some than others. Example for that is Shelby. She stole the show for me. I never disliked Shelby, even though she did seem kind of mean at times and self-centered. She was one of my favorites in this whole series. She was funny. She was still her bougie self, but in a fun way to watch. Another one who stole the show was Q. He was runner-up. I'm so happy that they finally made Q and Shelby an official couple. Everybody came on out to the island because Q said he was getting married. Nobody thought Q was ever going to get married, but he getting married now to this lady named Zamora, who's an actor, singer, Tony Award winner, Kids' Choice Awards winner, MTV winner, VH1 winner. She all the winners. She done won everything, so she says. So Q introduces Zamora to his friends, and everybody is about it except for Harper. Harper is like, something ain't right here. Harper at this time was the best man, and he was the only one with some common sense during this time. He was like, you've changed. She's changed you, because Q used to have this swag about him. He used to be smoking on cigars, but he don't even smoke weed no more. Now he's all about the earth and being healthy and just sounding really weird, like not like Q. You could tell off jump that Zamora and Q was not meant to be together. It seemed more like a business transaction. She was going to be the face of the real estate business. Harper was the best man, but Murch wanted to be, so he threw Q a bachelor party. At that bachelor party, Shelby showed up uninvited. She was never invited to the island. She wasn't even invited to the wedding, but she popped up for her man. And when she popped up, she did this sexy dance for him, and Q was all about it. Okay, he was all about it. They get into this argument talking about, I hate you, like they always do. And then a few minutes later, they end up in the bed together again, sleeping together. But what's funny to me is Zamora knew that they hooked up. She confronted Shelby about it, but she didn't even care. She was just like, I know you had my man's balls in your mouth. Fast forward to Harper telling Shelby that she gotta go catch the flight first thing in the morning because you're embarrassing yourself. Q's not gonna marry you. He's marrying Zamora. And I said, shut up, Harper. Once Q realizes that Shelby is gone and that she's going to the airport, he rushes to the airport to stop her. He was done with Zamora. He left her alone. But once he got to the airport, he confesses his love for Shelby in front of everybody. At first, she wasn't about it. She was like, nah, get away from me. And then he was like, please, I'm down on both my knees. Come back here. Come back here. And then she came back. They kissed and they get married. A true love story. But what gagged me is her 10-year-old daughter being Q's daughter the whole time. She had her daughter, Kennedy, calling Q uncle. Meanwhile, he the real daddy. And he didn't even seem to have a problem with this information at all until one point in the show when Harper gets into it with everybody basically, and he brings up the fact that she kept this from him for 10 years. Q was in the background talking about, yeah, tell it. Besides all that, they are happily married. Q has to take blue pills just to keep up with her sometimes. I like the fact that Shelby was this housewife, but then she ended up quitting it to further her career. Started working on the show that Jordan hooked her up with. And the part where she was on Watch What Happens Live and they showed her reaction to when she found out Q was getting married to another woman was one of the best parts. Had me dying. How she just showed up at his job and started attacking him. That little health scare that they gave Q had me mad and scared all at the same time. Because I'm like, why they want to do that to Q? Q ended up having a mini heart attack, so he had to switch up his lifestyle and how he was eating. Him and Shelby ended up getting into a little tiff at times because she was just trying to get him to eat right. And he was like, nah, I want to eat that. But they ended up getting through that. Q's father also had some health issues, maybe dementia or Alzheimer's or something like that. He kept forgetting things, he was falling, and he was mad at Q for entertaining the idea of selling the family business to these white people who he called racist. But he did almost lose the business because of the pandemic. Shelby also went through this whole midlife crisis thing. She didn't want to get older. She didn't want to look older, but then she eventually got over it. But Q and Shelby were my favorites out of this whole thing. So now let's move on to Lance. So Lance is still grieving the loss of his wife, Mia. So he out here acting a fool. He's sleeping with any and everybody. He done hooked up with about 12 people before he even got to the island, from his house to the island. But he does end up meeting Jasmine, this woman who works at the resort. They hit it off and she's making him want to switch up and change his ways, but she's engaged. But after some time goes by, he ends up finding out from Q that she never got married, and it just so happens that she ends up moving to the same city that he lives in New York, because she got a promotion at the Hilton. They end up running into each other at Lance's Jersey retirement party because he was a football player. And she ends up meeting Lance's kids, and his kids seem to like her. So Lance and Jasmine do eventually end up in a relationship. But him actually finding someone that he likes after Mia was a long journey, okay? But also, Lance was going through it in this series. He was trying to find himself. He was lost. He didn't know what to do with himself. He didn't know his purpose after Mia died. He retired from football, and then he was like, what's my purpose? And then he was like, you know what? I'm gonna play football again at 48. But after he got hit too hard in practice, he was like, never mind, I quit. And then he became an assistant coach. So since Lance was a really good football player in the past, he wanted his son LJ to follow in his footsteps. And even though LJ was good at football, he didn't want to do that. And it turns out that LJ is non-binary. And the first person who found out of this whole friend group was his godmother, Jordan. He interns for her. So he showed up to work, and he showed up and showed out. She was okay with it. Everybody was okay with it, of course, except his father, Lance. At one point, Q found out because they was making too much noise, and when he went down there to tell them to shut up, he saw LJ and his daughter down there making a TikTok. LJ had on a whole wig, his whole outfit. Q was just like, carry on. So everybody knew at this point except Lance. The only reason why Lance found out in the first place is because LJ told Kennedy to post the TikTok of them. And so when she did, her mom, Shelby, got an alert, and she was so high that she couldn't see the TikTok. So she was like, I'm gonna just put it on the TV screen. And that's when Lance came in the room and saw LJ in women's clothing. He, of course, had a fit. He ended up seeing LJ with lipstick on. He was like, take that off. It got so bad, it got to the point where he took LJ's credit cards away from him and told LJ that you can't buy any clothes unless you ask me first. It got so bad that LJ told his dad that he wished that he died instead of mom, and he ended up being missing for like 2 days. And that's when Lance started to realize that, hold up, where my child at? I need my child at home. And started to regret how he was acting. He was in a panic. He was going through it out there searching and looking for him. Turned out that LJ was okay the whole time. He was at church. Lance was praying on this whole thing. He was asking God to help him with this, help him be a better person so he can be a good father to LJ. He was also wondering what would Mia do. But side note, it was nice to see those little flashbacks of Mia since they wanted to offer. But once LJ went missing is when he turned things around. They was even on this red carpet at his Jersey retirement party. And Lance corrected someone when they called LJ his son and let them know that LJ's pronouns are they, them. So get it right. So glad when Lance finally got it right because he was getting on my nerves. But at the same time, I do understand that this happens in a lot of families, but still, he was getting on my nerves. So Harper is same old Harper. He didn't really change much. He just got more successful. That first book that he made in The Best Man, they made that out of a movie. All of his books are successful. He's won all of these awards, and he's even on magazine covers. He got money now, and he's putting work first, which is putting a strain on his marriage. We see Robyn not feeling appreciated or seen in the marriage. She's feeling like Harper doesn't care about her dreams of wanting to be a chef and having her own restaurant. They're just two completely different people who never seem to be on the same page. She be tripping too though. It's not just Harper. She was kind of even entertaining another man. She had a crush on this other man who worked at this flea market. She seems to always kind of be crushing on somebody who working around food. When she was on the island for Q's wedding, she ran into this woman who was a chef, and at one point I thought they was about to have some lesbian action or something. Even if she did have a crush on this lady and this man, she never acted on it. But Harper sure did act on it with Jordan. Jordan and Harper kissed. They was even about to go all the way until they got a phone call about Q having a heart attack. But eventually, one day, Robyn tells Harper that she's done. The last straw is when Harper wouldn't go with her to Ghana. She was going to be there for the summer for work, and Harper didn't want to go. Even somebody out of the friend group was like, you can write anywhere. Why don't you just go with her? But he didn't want to go. So she was like, you can't even give me 2 months when I've given you all these years. I've been there for you, but you can't be there for me now. So she was like, I'm done. And they ended up filing for divorce. And when they was having their whole divorce meeting with the lawyers and all of that, she told Harper that she's going to be moving to Ghana and she's taking their daughter with her. So Harper was like, hold up now. The only reason why I gave you primary custody in the first place is because I thought you was going to be right down the street, not in Ghana. So then he ends up filing too, and that stops her from being able to go to Ghana. She got to go to this whole court thing. So everybody pretty much gets mad at him for doing this. All of his friends, because Murch was like, I told you not to file for custody because now you're not going to be able to be friends with Robyn, blah, 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 blah. Harper ends up getting into an argument with almost everybody. Then that ends up making no one but Harper end up going to Lance's Jersey retirement party. I feel like everyone was mad except for Lance and Q, but eventually Harper ended up canceling that whole thing. He was like, I'm not going to file for custody because he saw that his daughter had his mother's spirit and he didn't want to end up taking that away. So with all of that drama that they was going through, they still ended up being able to be friends in the end and during this whole co-parenting thing. And Robyn did actually let their daughter Mia go visit their dad one day with her grandmother. And yeah, they named their daughter Mia after their dead friend Mia. But the fact that Robyn was like, you can come visit your daughter in Ghana whenever you feel like it. Like it's just around the corner or something. Girl, you sound stupid. After that whole divorce thing though, Jordan and Harper still continued to hang out. And at one point, Jordan had to tell Harper, I'm not about to be no rebound. this is too soon for you to be hopping up into a relationship. And I'm honestly mad that they never let Harper and Jordan be together. The chemistry is obviously there. They obviously need to be together. So why not just make them be together? That's what I don't like. We did see Jordan being the boss that she is. She's another one that didn't really get a lot of character development. She still can't keep a man and she still doesn't have any kids. Even though at one point the doctor told her that she could be pregnant, turned out she wasn't pregnant and she ended up being sad about that. We saw her entertaining this one man on the island at some point, but that didn't go anywhere. Then we see her reconnecting with someone that she used to date in high school, and that didn't go anywhere. He ended up hating on Harper because he didn't like the relationship that her and Harper had. He ended up being a part of this company that was the second largest company to invest in prisons. So Jordan wasn't about that at all. Jordan was really good at her job. She was this executive there. She was the boss. She was actually overworking herself, and one day she realized that and she just walked out. She didn't really quit. She'll be back later. She just needs some time. At one point, I didn't think Murch and Candace was going to make it. Candace was focused on school. She wanted to get her PhD. She was studying on how to heal yourself in a more natural way with canvas. She ended up getting assaulted by her professor, but she let the world know when she found out that he was about to get an award. She was like, everybody about to know what you did. And through all of this, Murch was trying to find himself. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He was feeling lost in the marriage. So he ended up getting into boxing. He was really going through it. He ended up having to deal with the Karen involving this whole taxi. She ended up taking the taxi that him and his kids was going to get into. Turned out to be a big, huge old thing. The police came. He was also feeling unappreciated in the friend group as well and feeling left out all the time. So that really started to take a toll on him too, especially when he saw his part in that movie, basically portraying him to be this weak man. He didn't even go to the premiere. But overall, I really did enjoy it. My favorite parts, like I said, was Q and Shelby. I like seeing successful, rich black people, and I want to see more of it. Watching this reminded me of the 90s black sitcoms and the early 2000s black sitcoms, and I'm like, what happened to those times? Also, all of those black movies that we had in the 90s, like, what's going on? How did we fall back like that? Let me know if I left anything out, and let me know your thoughts on The Best Man, the last chapters. Did you like it or not? And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.